Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Samantha Pereira. I love makeup and I'm from Sydney, Australia. Today's video is going to be on this look that you see right here using the brand new Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. Now this palette, this video is a first impressions / review on this palette. I am quite excited for you guys to see how I came up with this look. I was really hesitant to buy this palette in the first place and I was almost not going to get it, and then kind of just decided last minute to give it a go and see if I liked it, and you guys will see in this video what I think about it and also towards the end. In this video I'm going to be including my demo, some swatches, and also my final thoughts and review as well. So I will leave timestamps down below if you want to see certain parts in a certain order or whatever else. So guys, without further ado, if you guys want to see my thoughts and review on the new Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, then please keep on watching. To the actual demo of this video, I just want to give you guys a few swatches and also a bit of a general idea on the palette. So to start off with, this is what the palette looks like, and it did have a unit kind of that it came in with, which looks like this. When you open it up, you get a mirror, a quite good sized mirror. It says Huda Beauty over here. You get 18 shades, and I believe that there is 4 different textures. It says on the back that there is 8 buttery mattes, 6 pressed pearls, 3 duochrome toppers, and 1 daring glitter. The glitter is this one here called Cosmo. It is like a pressed glitter, which is quite different to see in a palette like this. On the back of the palette, of course, it has all the ingredients, which are written in English, French, Arabic, and I believe Russian. Obviously on the back it has all the details regarding Huda Beauty and social media and all that kind of stuff. The front of the palette has that spot UV where it kind of has that duochrome shine in the light, which is really, really stunning. The layout of the shadows is like this. They are not in any kind of order when it comes to like the formula or anything like that. They are just kind of laid out in just like a random order as far as we're concerned. The only shade that I think that is a bit strange in this palette is this color here called Must. I haven't actually used this on my eyes yet, but it looks like a kind of cool tone taupe, which I just don't really see the point of that kind of a shade in this palette when everything else is very, very warm and vibrant and very dusky. Aside from that, I think that all the colors are really stunning. I think that it's all a very cohesive palette and all the shades kind of go together. This palette in Australia retails for $95. I believe that the palette in the US is $65. There are 18 shades, which makes each shade about $5.30 here in Australia. You can either buy this online or you can buy it in Sephora Australia stores. Now that is quite high up there in price. But when you do look at $5.30 a shadow, that is pretty reasonable. And I think that, you know, when you see the quality of the shadows that you're getting and the colors and all that kind of stuff, then that will also help you to decide whether you think it's worth it or not. Now, a lot of people are also talking about comparisons between the original Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette compared to the Desert Dusk palette. For starters, you can see the packaging is different. The Rose Gold palette doesn't have a mirror or a nice front to it. It's just got a clear kind of acrylic packaging where you can see all the shades through. The size of the palette is exactly the same. The amount of shadows that you get is the same, and the price is also the same for both palettes, so that doesn't change. Now there is a shade that is the same in both palettes, which I found quite interesting, and that is the shade Angelic. So down here you've got this shade here called Angelic, and you've also got the same shade on the top row over here. If you also see with the layout as well that all of the shimmery and foiled shades in the Rose Gold palette are both on the top row, whereas they are kind of scattered in the Desert Dusk palette. Alright guys, now these are the swatches of the first row. So the first shade that we've got all the way towards my wrist is the shade Desert Sand. On my hand swatch, this shade doesn't really come up that much. It's more of like a creamy beige highlight. Then I've got the shade Musk next to it. Then I've got Eden, then Amber, then Blood Moon, and OUD. Now this here is the second row of swatches, and to the one closest to my wrist is Celestial, and this by far is the most interesting shade I've ever seen in any kind of a palette. In the pan it looks more of a pink gold, and then in certain lighting it looks like a green gold. Then you've got the shade Nefertiti, I think it's pronounced, and this is just a really pretty gold with, again, another pink undertone, but more of a peachy pink undertone. You've got the shade Twilight next to it, and then you've got Amethyst. And Amethyst is probably the most disappointing shade in the whole palette. It took quite a little bit of swatching to get it to this point, but having said that, purple shades are very hard to make. So then you've got the shade Royal, which is this stunning burgundy purple shimmery shade. I love it. And then you've got the shade Retrograde, which I was so surprised with because in the pan it looks like a typical blue-brown eyeshadow, kind of like a blue-brown pigment from MAC, but it has more of a pink with teal reflect. Now, last row in the palette, we have the first shade closest to my wrist is Cashmere, which is this really pretty taupey shimmery shade. I love this shade. Then we've got the shade Angelic, which I believe Angelic is also in Rose Gold textured palette. Then you've got the shade Cosmo, which is the glitter shade. Obviously on my hand I have no eyeshadow base or primers or anything like that, so that's what Cosmo looks like without any glitter base. Then you've got the shade Turkish Delight, this really stunning deep red shimmer shade. Then you've got the shade Saffron, which is very, very similar to Turkish Delight except with no shimmer. And then you've got the shade Blazing, which is a stunning burnt orange. Now this is a swatch comparison of the two angelic shades from both of the palettes. The first one here is from the Desert Dusk palette and the other one is from the Rose Gold textured palette. What I noticed out of both of them is the one from the Rose Gold palette feels like it's a little bit more gold, whereas the one from the Desert Dusk palette pulls to be a little bit more pink. Now I don't really know where I want to go with this palette, but I'm going to start off with taking the palette and going into the shade Eden right here. And I'm just using a Morphe 40 brush, like always, and I'm just going to go ahead and just fluff that into the crease. Now I'm going to switch over to this shade here called Amber, and I'm going to take that on a Morphe R37 brush, kind of in the outer portion of the eye. And these shadows are blending out actually really, really nicely. I'm really surprised. Not that the shadows in the last palette weren't blending, but I found them really dry and a little bit patchy in certain areas. Like I feel like they just wouldn't hold on certain areas, and the foil shades were a bit of a mess in my opinion. Next, using this Morphe M330 brush, I'm going to go into this shade here on the end, which is called OUD. I don't know what that stands for, but I will try and find out and let you guys know in the description box down below. And this one so far has the most kickback that I've noticed in the palette, just out of the shades that I've been using. And I'm going to take this into the outer corner and up to the crease again. I'm just creating a little bit of dimension here. I'm also going to bring whatever's left of this shade into the inner corner. Alright, next I do want to bring a little bit of the purple into this look. So I'm going to take this shade here in the middle of the palette, which is called Amethyst. And it's this really pretty purple shade. Now purples are really hard to create. It almost looks like a satin finish, so it's not totally matte. And it looks like it has a little bit of shimmer in it, so we'll see how that looks. I'm just gonna, I guess, put it into the crease. So I do want to bring a little bit of purple into this look. Alright, I think I'm gonna go ahead with the shade Saffron right here on the bottom. I'm taking that with my MAC 239 brush. And I think I want to put it in the inner corner, create almost like a halo eye. I want to use as many shades from this palette as possible, that I can give it a fair judgment on how the shadows work. That's a really beautiful colour, and that colour blended out so nicely. I think this one is so far my favourite shadow in the palette. Then to blend that out, I want to take, this is a Morphe M433 brush, and I'm going to take the shade Blazing, the one right next to Saffron. It's a really pretty orangey, burnt orange, warm shade, and I'm just going to take that just to kind of blend that out. This one also does have quite a bit of fallout, similar to the shade OUD that we used before. Wow, so far I'm loving the way this look is turning out. I think what I'm going to do with this palette is first take the colour Blood Moon, which is this kind of shimmery shade here, and then probably take a little bit of Cosmo, which is the glitter in the middle of the eye. I think that's what I want to do. So I'm first going to take my broken beat up flat brush that you guys all know about. I don't need to talk about it anymore. I'm going to go into the shade Blood Moon, and I first want to apply it without any setting spray and just to see how it kind of goes on the eye, and then go from there. Oh wow, it's pretty pigmented without anything, but I do get quite a bit of fallout, so I am going to spritz my brush with some facial mist. But the pigment on its own is actually really beautiful. I just don't want fallout, so I'm going to apply that to the center of the eye, and I want to bring this up a little bit higher than I usually would. Wow, actually this was like a shimmer shade, but it's actually foiled. So I've noticed on this eye it's become a little bit more foiled. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and do some glitter. So I'm just going to take a flat brush, and I'm going to use what I always use with glitters, which is my liquid sugar from Eye Candy. Just to the very center of the eye. And I actually don't want to bring the glitter up too high. Now what I'm seeing with this glitter is that it's very chunky, so it's quite like textured and rough. So I just went ahead and applied just some of the base to my eye first. And then applying, that's much better. Applying the glitter on top of that I think will be a lot easier. So before I finish it off, I do just want to blend out the inner and outer corner a little bit more because it is like more of a halo eye. So I'm just taking my R37 again, going into Saffron and Blazing, and I just want to diffuse that. Now you will have some glitter kind of come off because you're kind of dusting away a little bit of glitter. So I do recommend with this palette, especially if you're going to use the glitter or any of the foiled shades, to do your skin after, which I usually do, but I don't know, today I just decided to do my skin first, and I'm kind of regretting it ish because I do have now quite a lot of glitter fallout, but that's normal. Like I'm not hating the palette because that's pretty normal with glitter shades. So I do want to do a bit of an inner corner highlight, and there is a shade that I'm getting quite drawn to, and it is a foiled shade, so this could go really badly, but I do want to try it out. It's the shade here called Celestial. If it doesn't work out, I'll just put something else on top, but I'm going to take that and spritz my brush because it's foiled. And now because I thought this shade was going to be lighter, I will go in with another inner corner highlight. I'm just going to be so extra today with my inner corner highlight. I'm going to take that same pencil brush, and for the record this was a Morphe M431, and what I'm going to do is I've just dusted it off on my Vera Mona, and I'm going to take this shade here called Nefertiti. I have no idea. But I'm going to take that. It's a really pretty champagne colour. Well, it looks like a champagne gold. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I like that. That's nice. Just adds a little bit more to the look. I'm also going to put this on my brow bone. It's probably going to be a bit chunky, but oh no, that's really nice. It is still a bit chunky, but it's really, really beautiful. I'm really impressed with these shadows. Huda Beauty's line, like I feel like so far, this is just me personally, I've only liked her liquid lips. I feel like everything else in her line that I've tried, the highlighting palette, the other eyeshadow palette, the lashes I haven't really enjoyed in the past. I'm a fan. Alright, I'm going to do the lower lash line. I'm just going to, again, dust off any fallout that I've got under here. This is a Morphe M521 brush. I'm going to take the shade Saffron and Blazing, and I'm going to take that on the lower lash line. And then over the top of that, I think I want to go in with Amethyst, just because why not? And I lost a bit of that colour as well on the top lash line after I added those shades as well, so I wanted to kind of bring that purple back. There's another shade in here that's really got my eye like bam, like use me Celina, and that is the shade Twilight. And but this one here, Twilight, is the one that I wanted. And I'm just going to put this in the kind of inner corner on the bottom. This comes off really blue on the eye, really blue and purple. Now, because we're in the spirit of Huda Beauty, I may as well use as many products that I can. So I'm going to use this pair here. They're the Samantha Lashes, number 7. Alright, now I just went ahead and applied some mascara and also the lashes. And to be honest, the lashes actually applied quite easily. I'm really surprised, and I love the way this look turned out in total. So this, you guys, is the finished eye look. Alright guys, now I haven't had a chance to go ahead and finish my skin. For the foundation, I used my Tarte Clay Stick foundation, and I'm in the shade light, medium and neutral. But I am going to take some highlight, and alright, you guys know that how I felt about this palette, but I'm going to use it for the purposes of this video. My whole thing with this palette was that it looks great on camera, but in real life it looks very like choppy and a bit chunky, which is not me. Like I want my highlights to look really nice and smooth and very skin-like. So I'm going to take my Milperra spray, spritz it on the skin, and I'm going to take the shade Seashells with my Morphe M510 and apply it to the skin. You see, it looks beautiful on camera. It looks stunning. But in person, I feel like it just accentuates my texture in a way that I just don't want. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and now do lips. Both these shades are honestly so similar. Like, they're almost the same shade, which is hilarious. But I'm going to, I think, go with the shade Venus. And funny enough, I actually really enjoy the Huda Beauty Liquid Lips. Alright guys, so that is it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed. All in all, my final thoughts on the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette is I do think that it's definitely Celina Pereira approved. I really like this palette. I think that it is stunning. Definitely a huge improvement from the last palette, which you guys would have seen some comparisons in this video because I did include them in the swatches. And yeah, I really like this palette. I think that if you have the money to spend on it, go for it. They are beautiful. If you like this color scheme, then definitely go for it, because the formula is absolutely amazing. Really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. And be sure to turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on anything that I post. Leave me a comment down below what you guys want to see next. And until the next one, you guys, I love you and I'll see you then. Mwah.